Hello and welcome to another session of Karen's Colours. I'm Dr. Karen and these are my colour conversations. Well, it's that time again where we delve into the realm of potential. Yes, time for more monthly colour readings. I hope you've been enjoying the ones that I have been presenting so far, and I'd be very curious to find out just how it is that you managed with the colour changes that you may have chosen for yourself. I, this month, had the colours blue and yellow, and I certainly had some surprises, which is what those colours tend to suggest. The most surprising thing, of course, was that even though I am a lucid dreamer and still dreamt throughout the entire month, I couldn't remember any of them, which is really quite interesting because yellow is a colour of remembering things. So obviously it was an issue that I needed to deal with. But before we get started today, I'd really like to welcome those of you who are new subscribers to this channel. It's always pleasant to find that there are people who are starting to find an interest in the sorts of things that I talk about. Maybe it's not so much these monthly readings, maybe it's more to do with the films that I analyse, but whatever it is, if I can explore with you the world of colour as I see it, then maybe you too will find an interest in something that you didn't know that you were interested in. For those of you who are regular viewers, thank you from the bottom of my heart for attending. And really, I think it's time that you might like to make some comments. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know what's happening to you. Let me know how these readings resonate for you. And that way I can be guided into giving more informed opinions of the colours as they turn out. If you're new here, then of course you are also very, very welcome. And I hope you find something here that is of benefit to you. All right, well, this month I've decided to take the oracle called The Treasures of Tikashi. Now, I don't have a box for these anymore. These have been with me for almost as long as my tarot cards and much, much longer than my colour cards. So the box is long gone, but it has some very wonderful messages for people. And I hope that the message that comes out for you resonates with what you are experiencing in your life in the here and now. All right then, well, let's get started. Oh, let's now choose a treasure from Tikashi to accompany the colour reading for people born in August, to look at how their October 2025 is likely to develop. And we'll just get one, pop it under there for the time being, and we'll look at it later. And now, a colour reading for people born in the month of August to accompany their October 2025 journey as we head towards the end of the year. All right, people born in August. All right. Very well. You bring into the month pink on grey. By the middle of the month, you're pink on purple. And by the end of the month, it's white on pink. The underlying energy is red on black. Ah, very well. All right, the first thing we note, of course, is that there is one colour that is repeated 3 times, and it comes through the entire month. It's the energy of what you're actually doing as you come into the month and throughout the majority of the month, and then it becomes the underlying energy as you leave the month, the underlying need or drive. That colour, of course, is pink. The underlying energy for the entirety of the month is red on black. Now, the interesting thing here is that pink is the watered down or weakened version of red, whereas pink is all about lack of energy. Red is about energy in abundance. And so the underlying energy here is one that looks as though it's going to be dissipated as we travel through the month. The need or drive that comes with the underlying energy here is black. Black is the need for time out. It's the need to get away from whatever it is and whoever it is that you have been dealing with. It's the need to simply withdraw, give yourself space and time to consider all of the options, all of the information that you already have stored up. Black is a color that encompasses all colors, just like white is a color that encompasses all colors. But with black, we can't see any of it because it's all obscured, it's all hidden, it's all packed away inside our souls. With white, it's out there in the open for the world to see. So the need here is one of getting in touch with your inner self, getting in touch with your soul energy, your psychic energy. And in the real world, the way in which you manage that is to become entirely very, very active. There is one other issue, though, that always accompanies red and black when they are together, and that is that this is an issue of sexuality. It's got nothing to do with sex. It's got nothing to do with gender. This is sexuality. Sexuality refers to how you present yourself as a human being to yourself, to the world, and how people perceive you. It's not just about how you dress yourself. It's about the way in which you behave. It's about the way in which people respond to you as a human being and the way in which you respond to others as a human being. When red appears in the top rather than in the bottom, this means that you are showing a lot of aggressive energy. And that aggressive energy can actually come through, or even not necessarily aggressive, it can also be the sort of energy that provokes danger. You know, it's impulsiveness, it's risk-taking, and all of that energy can be very frightening for those people around you, particularly since nobody really knows you inside. You have kept yourself away. And this is one way of maintaining that, keeping your distance from others, is that you show a particular part of yourself that causes others to go stop, because that's what red is all about. You are in charge. You are the dominant one in your own psyche, and you display that dominance to others, which can be seen as a challenge by some, but can also be seen as a warning. So people tend not to take you on with the way that you present your sexuality here in the red above black. If it's the other way around, then it's a little easier for other people to manage you. Sometimes, not always. In the past, what's happened here is we have pink over grey. Now, grey as the driver, as the need internally, is all about having to overcome the inability to find a specific path. Grey has to do with confusion, has to do with uncertainty. It has to do with needing to find a middle road, a way through a fog, if you like. And that need or drive comes through in the real world as being vulnerable. You really didn't, at the beginning of the month, you really don't know what to do or how to do it. You've got no energy. You're feeling as though you are very, very needy. And in that need, you're actually presenting yourself as someone worthy of attention, worthy of love, worthy of assistance. So the pink on grey enables you to get the sort of help that you need to start making decisions, because the grey requires you internally to come to terms with opposing ideas, opposing values, opposing belief systems. How do you do that? Even opposing actions for that matter. How do you manage that? Well, you manage it by getting help from others. By the middle of the month, that help from others is still there, But this time it's not caused as a result of this drive towards finding a middle road. This time it's because you have shown yourself to be somebody who can have a great deal of fun. Now, the interesting thing about purple and pink is that whenever they appear in a reading, you have a transition from the baby energy, which is what pink is all about, through to the child energy, which is what purple is all about. Purple is child energy insofar as children tend to break things and they make things. They tend to heal stuff by wanting to help. At the same time, they're quite tantrum prone as well. So we find here a situation where the pink over purple means that there is a childlike drive inside for change, whether that be catastrophic, whether that be destructive, whether that be reconstruction or the healing of something. All of that energy, all of that drive, that need comes through in the real world as I need help because I really can't fix what it is that has been broken. Whether you broke it or somebody else did is irrelevant at this stage. By the end of the month, all of that lack of energy, instead of being out in the real world where other people are coming to rescue you, now it becomes a need for self-rescue. And here, pink in the internal world is that you've run out of energy, you've run out of ideas, you've now got to the stage where you desperately need the help that you were given here. But because of what it is that you've done here, in the real world, that help isn't forthcoming. And this combination, white on pink, is all about coming to face with consequences. This is justice heading your way. What is it that you have done here that now comes home to roost? Now, that could be a positive thing. Could be that you've done some really lovely things here and now you're being rewarded for it. On the other hand, it could be that what you've been doing here is game playing, destructive, causing other people pain and discomfort, in which case the justice that you're going to be facing here, the consequences that you're going to be facing here might just not be very nice for you at all. There is also a warning here in that so much pink tends to suggest illness of some sort, specific hormonal upsets, because pink lacks energy, so therefore you can't fight anything that comes your way. And what generally comes our way when we are in a pink state is some form of illness, whether it just be the common cold or something more serious, really don't know. But that the fact that you have so much pink in this reading tends to suggest that there is definitely some sort of illness process here that is a potential for disrupting whatever it is that you want to achieve throughout the month of October. Now, how does the underlying energy impinge upon all of this? Well, we have pink over black. Black in the internal world, as I said before, is the need to withdraw. When you need to withdraw, take time out, and in the real world, you are vulnerable, that definitely indicates some sort of illness process. You're feeling unwell, whether that be an actual physical disease or a mental disease or some other situation where you're just feeling as though you can't continue along the path that you've been going. That pink and black indicates that this is the sort of thing that's happening to you at the beginning of the month. Red on grey has similar connotations because they're still in the same spectrum area, but it's slightly different. Here, trying to find a way out of a difficulty, trying to find the correct path out of a number of different options in the real world comes through as you taking a chance, taking an opportunity to simply on impulse doing something that hopefully will lead you out of that period of confusion. That energy may actually have driven you to the illness that is also present as a potential at the beginning of the month. If that's the case, be very careful throughout the rest of the month because this continues. Red over purple. The need for a catastrophic change, the need to completely rearrange your life, to destroy what was and create something new, instead of making you feel as though you don't have energy, suddenly becomes the opportunity for impulsive action. And with that impulsive action, you are out there potentially making danger for yourself. Pink over black has the same reading as we have here. And that potential danger, again, is an illness process. Maybe it's just an injury. Maybe it's not very severe, but the potential is there. And I would very, very strongly urge you to be very careful about what impulsive decisions you make throughout October. And then we have white on black. Now, white and black create grey. Grey is trying to find a middle road. White and black are the extremes that you are trying to find the middle road from. Black internally, I need to get away, I need time out, I need to reconsider my options, I need to find some solutions internally. White, I haven't got time for that. Things are happening so fast, so quickly, so catastrophically, because white is enlightenment, but it's impinging upon every aspect of your life, so that you're barely able to recover from the first flash before the next one hits. And that is an issue that you potentially will have to deal with, because it's already partially here at the beginning of the month. The other combination is the really interesting one, red and pink. Pink is the need for love. Red is the action of sex. And when those two come together, often a pregnancy ensues. Now, that pregnancy doesn't necessarily have to be an actual physical human baby. It can just be a project, an idea, the seed of something that may become great, that you are highly enthusiastic about, that you are prepared to take chances about, that you're prepared to risk everything in order for that thing to grow. It's a very interesting combination, particularly when one considers that pink is always associated with hormonal energy. And when in the real world you've got hormones acting up, and then suddenly that acting up of those hormones drives itself internally as a need. I need to do something with all these raging hormones. Add red to the combination and you have a bit of a volatile potential here. Honestly, August people, I really suggest that you think carefully about what choices you make. All right, let's now look at the colours that are missing. They might help us decide on how to best negotiate this trip. You have black, you have white, you have red. There's no yellow or green or blue or brown or orange, but you do have grey and you have purple and you have so much pink it's unbelievable almost, but there's no cyan. So these 6 colours here are the ones that you will be using as skills throughout the month of October. And if you're wanting a baby, if you actually do want to become physically pregnant, there's a good chance that by the end of October, you may even have attained that particular goal. On the other hand, these 6 colours are the ones that are missing. The ones that you're currently not using and potentially are the ones that will help you to obtain what it is that you desire. If it's not a pregnancy, then at least it might be a goal. Yellow is about learning. It's about remembering. It's about being able to digest new information and to store it away for ready retrieval. Green is the establishment of opportunities, but also changing your mind and your values about certain things. So it's finding freedom. The blue has to do with organization and stability and being able to just simply settle your life down into a routine. Brown has to do with goals and aspirations, and also the practical skills that are necessary in order for you to be able to attain those goals. Orange is all about confidence and the ability to survive a crisis. And cyan has to do with peace and harmony and contentment and everything that makes you feel absolutely in a state of bliss, but it also has to do with stagnation and stability in terms of everything in its place all the time, forevermore. So the idea is for you to choose one of these colours that is most appealing and the one colour that is least appealing, and then incorporate those into your life in somehow. And as you do so, you'll find that instead of having 6 skills to rely upon, you now have 8. And with 8 skills, you have greater opportunities to overcome what could be the negatives of this reading and come out at the other end, not just with justice, with the consequences in hand, but the consequences as a result of your sexuality being ones that are most favourable. Let's just look at what Tikashi has to say on the subject. Respect. A sense of reverence surrounding your being creates flow with every thought or action. Pay a particular attention to yourself, your clothes, your stance, your charisma. Allow your inner pride of self to quietly shine. Honor yourself and respect the needs of others, and whatever needs to be achieved can be done with dignity. That is virtually a definition of sexuality. Good luck with that. Well, that was certainly an interesting reading. I hope it resonates with you throughout the month. And if it doesn't, come back in a week or so and see what it has to say then. Because quite often we don't recognize all these general readings for ourselves immediately. It's only once we've gone through a few stages that we start to realize that, maybe that was what it was all about. Anyway, until next time, may the colours of your life bring you joy and happiness and all the things that you desire. Until I see you again, bye.